I arrived at my cousin's wedding with a $2,900 gift and a fresh haircut. At the entrance, my aunt checked a list. "Oh," she said, "you're just evening only. That means no meal, just mingling." I smiled, walked back to my car, logged into the wedding fund I helped create, and hit withdraw entire balance. 40 minutes later, the planner texted the group, "Dessert service canceled. Immediate balance required." At 9:11 p.m., my sister messaged, "What did you do?" I replied, "I arrived at my cousin's wedding looking like I might propose to someone myself. Fresh haircut, charcoal suit, pocket square like a hostage note." The gift envelope in my jacket held a check for $2,900. I wrote it out the night before with a glass of overpriced wine and the smug satisfaction of someone who thought he was included. At the entrance, my Aunt Joanne stood with a clipboard, the kind you buy in bulk when managing a middle school play. She glanced up, then back down at her list. "Name." I said it. "Full name. First and last." She frowned. "Oh," she said, lips pursed. "You're just evening only." I blinked. "Excuse me." She tilted the list like that might soften the words. "No meal, just mingling." I stood there, in $120 socks, calculating whether mingling was a synonym for being tolerated in the hallway. Inside, through the archway, I saw calligraphy place cards, long tables, flickering candles and hurricane vases like a Pinterest tutorial come to life. Outside, near the parking lot, a man was stacking folding chairs. I felt closer to him. Evening only. Not cousin. Not guest. Not human with a seat. Just a warm body who might hold a mimosa and smile in the group photos. I didn't argue. I smiled, turned, and walked calmly back to my car. 10 minutes later, I was logged into the wedding fund, the same one I'd helped create. Set up the platform. Verified the Stripe account. "This will make things easier," I'd said, like a fool who thinks family means something. The balance was $6,780. I hit withdraw entire balance. 22 seconds later, the confirmation came through. 40 minutes after that, the wedding planner texted the family group chat. "Urgent. Dessert service canceled. Immediate balance required. Please advise." At 9:11 p.m., my sister messaged me. "What did you do?" I replied, "Just mingling." Wedding fund sounded collaborative. A shared dream, they said. Something we all chip in for. What they meant was, "We'll dream, you'll deposit." I set it up myself. Stripe, account routing, email confirmation. I even made a little graphic for the invites. Help build the day of their dreams. Subtle guilt with a PayPal logo. The first payment was mine, of course. $850 to get things started. Then $750 more when the photographer threatened to cancel over unpaid deposit. I remember wiring it at 11:43 p.m. while brushing my teeth, because they were freaking out, and "We know you always come through." I did. That's the problem. They used to ask. Then they started assuming. For $1,200, that was the venue. My aunt called it the heart of the experience. I wired it in May. They said it would be reimbursed from gifts. It wasn't. Then came the quiet obligations. $1,350 per month for my brother's rent. Just until he gets his promotion. 15 months later, he got a dog instead. $5,498. My niece's online college tuition. She called it her last real shot. I paid in 3 installments. No one else even congratulated her. $1,100. Backyard pool repair at my parents' place. Guests might want to take pictures near the water. It was March. And the car, a 2012 Ford Focus I'd outgrown, but still kept in good shape. My cousin needed it for a summer internship. That was 2 summers ago. It's still registered under me, but now has bumper stickers about crypto and Jesus. No one ever said thank you. That's not a poetic exaggeration. I checked. No thanks. No, we appreciate it. No gif of a dancing bear holding a much obliged sign. Nothing. There was a moment, a year ago, when I thought maybe they didn't know how much I was giving. That maybe it was all going through my parents, and the others assumed someone else was helping. That illusion ended when my aunt said at dinner, "You're lucky, you know. No kids, no spouse, just freedom and a good job. This is your version of giving back." I just paid $5,000 that week. She said it between bites of imported salmon. The only real moment of honesty came from my mother, in a moment of unusual vulnerability, when she sighed and said, "If you ever stop helping, this whole thing falls apart." She didn't say it in fear. She said it like a warning. Like the foundation was me, and they'd all just built real estate on top. Even the wedding budget started to feel less like a gift and more like a subsidy. 2 weeks before the ceremony, the wedding planner messaged me directly. Hi. Quick note, the couples decided to go minimal on the cake, simple two-tier, buttercream. They're reallocating funds for a surprise cocktail garden. Just wanted to keep you looped in. Cocktail garden. That was the moment I knew the fund had evolved. It wasn't about making the day special. It was about seeing how far they could stretch my generosity before it tore. I remember lying in bed, staring at the fund balance, $6,780. I'd created it, funded it, maintained it. The rest of them just celebrated. And when they handed me that flimsy badge at the entrance, white, lowercase, bold font, evening only, I realized they didn't just forget I was part of this. They erased me. I wasn't family. I was infrastructure. And even infrastructure has a switch. I didn't check my phone until I was already home. I wanted to enjoy the silence, the kind that doesn't ask for tips, favors, or forgiveness. Then I saw the notifications. 22 missed calls. 11 from my sister. 3 from my mother. The rest were a blend of in-laws, plus ones, and one suspicious number I was pretty sure belonged to the wedding planner's assistant. The group chat had erupted. First message. Why would you do that? Then, where's the cake vendor? They said payment bounced. And finally, from my sister, in all caps. What did you do? I replied with 2 words. Just mingling. It was quiet for 3 minutes. Then the planner messaged again. Dessert service canceled. No champagne tower. Urgent resolution needed. I didn't answer. They called it miscommunication. I saw it as setting boundaries. At 11:08 p.m., someone dropped this into the chat. We were relying on that money. That was for the toast, the lights, the champagne, the cake, everything. No one mentioned my name being printed in 16 points Arial as evening only. I scrolled back up, rereading each line like legal evidence. No one had asked me why. They were too busy blaming me for the consequences of their expectations. There were phrases like, "You're overreacting, this isn't about you," and my favorite, "You should have just talked to us first." I had, just not out loud. For the past 2 years, I talked with every rent payment, every tuition deposit, every emergency transfer when the power company accidentally shut them off for unpaid bills. They thought generosity came with silence. They were half right, but I wasn't silent anymore. I opened the wedding fund dashboard. The platform was slick, colorful interface, optimistic font, the kind of branding that assumes everyone's here for love. I clicked the Users tab. There they were. My sister, full admin. My mother, limited access. The wedding planner, finance manager. Me? Billing only. Billing only. That stung more than I expected. I wasn't even an admin on the account I created. Then I saw it. A $980 transfer, labeled Molecular Bar Experience, final installment. My name was on the invoice. I hadn't approved it. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't even been told there'd be a bar, let alone one with nitrogen and fire. Another line item, $2,300, lighting upgrade, lantern path package. Again, billed to my email. They'd used my profile, my account login, my payment history, and someone had changed the password. I reset it. The recovery email still pointed to mine. Sloppy. I got back in, exported all the transactions, downloaded a zip file, and opened each invoice. There it was, my name, my card, my digital signature. Except I'd never signed anything. They didn't just overspend. They acted without asking. They used the one thing I gave without expectation, trust, and turned it into a receipt. And suddenly, the phrase, evening only, made perfect sense. It wasn't about food. It was about status, visibility. A polite way of saying, you're good for the money, not for the memories. I sat at my desk, surrounded by documents, fake signatures, and the quiet hum of a laptop fan. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my sister, just 3 words. We need to talk. I didn't reply. I was preparing exhibits. I sent one email. Subject line, unapproved transactions and misuse of my details. Attached, 5 invoices, for screenshots, 1 PDF with my name was used without consent. I CC'd the wedding platform support team and legal address. Within 14 minutes, I got a reply. We're reviewing the evidence. We've frozen the account as a precaution. Precaution. I like that word. It felt like something I should have taken 2 years ago. At 1:24 a.m., My bank sent a push notification. Did you authorize a $2,300 payment to Lantern Decor Group? Declined. Then came the email. They tried again. Same amount. New vendor name. They weren't just desperate. They were improvising. At 8:03 a.m., I found the worst one. Buried in a thread of automated confirmations, a digital contract for wedding lighting and visuals coordination, signed electronically. My name typed neatly, followed by a squiggled signature that looked like a drunk question mark. It wasn't just sloppy. It was deeply inappropriate. The file name? Consent_form_underscore final. They hadn't just used my wallet. They acted without my knowledge. I opened the family group chat and stared at it for a full minute. Just stared. Then I posted a single screenshot, used my name without permission, and typed, "Tell me again how I'm overreacting." Seen. No replies. My phone rang 4 minutes later. It was my sister. I answered. She didn't even say hello. It wasn't supposed to go this far. Define this far. The signature thing. That was just for speed. We needed to lock in the price. I said nothing. She filled the silence with panic. "It's just money, Andrew. You always fix things. That's what you do." "No," I said. "That's what I did." She tried the sympathy card next. "Look, the wedding was a mess. Everyone was stressed. People were crying. Mom was yelling at the planner, and you downgraded me from family to evening only while spending thousands under my name. That wasn't stress. That was strategy." Silence. "I never wanted to hurt you," she said, soft now. "I just thought you'd handle it like always." I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "I did handle it," I said. Then I logged into the fund, hit withdraw remaining balance, $320, and closed the account permanently. 30 seconds later, I got a call from my mom. I didn't answer. Then came a message. "You're blowing this out of proportion. It's still your family." So I sent her the same screenshot of the forged signature and added, "You used my name. You lost the right to use the word family." That was the last thing I sent in that chat. But not the last thing I did. I exported the entire account history, zipped it into a folder titled wedding_misuse_records.zip, and saved it 3 times. Desktop, cloud, encrypted drive. Just in case they ever decided to talk things out with a lawyer. At 9:02 a.m., I sent one final message to the group. Available balance, $0. Just like my interest. I haven't read anything from them since. Not because they stopped writing, but because I stopped opening. They disappeared for 3 days. No texts, no calls, no drama, no fake apologies. Just the kind of hollow silence that happens when people are forced to sit in the wreckage they lit themselves. After the forged signature. After the group message with the screenshot of the PDF and the caption, "You used my name. Now you can live without it." Not even a passive-aggressive meme from my sister. No prayer hands. No mistakes were made. Just void. Then, Monday morning, 10:06 a.m. Message from my mother. "Maybe it's time to stop fighting. Can we just talk? We miss you." Not, "We're sorry." Not, "We went too far." Just talk. The most neutral verb in the family vocabulary. The one they use when they mean, "Let's get back to the old terms, where you pay and we pretend you don't." At 10:08, and Joan called. The unofficial family fixer. A woman who could deliver a guilt trip with a smile and a cinnamon bun. "I know things got messy, but we're still family. This doesn't have to be the end. You're better than that." Better than what, exactly? Better than filing a fraud report? Better than withdrawing the balance from a fund I created and they abused? But I didn't say any of that. I let her talk. Let her fill the silence with soft threats and soft encouragement. When she finally paused for breath, I replied, "Sure. Let's talk." 1 minute later. "Really? Thank you. You won't regret this. We knew you just needed time." There it was again, that word. Time. As if time was what healed wounds. Not accountability. Not even acknowledgement. They offered a coffee shop. Something light, relaxed, public. I countered with, "Let's do dinner. My treat. I'll book something nice." Immediate validation. Classy move. That's our guy. You always were the thoughtful one. I made a reservation at Aleron. A place so upscale it had no phone number, just a concierge email. The kind of restaurant where you pay extra to not be seated near people with kids. I picked 7 p.m. Table for 6. My name. My timing. My rules. I arrived 15 minutes early. Charcoal blazer, fresh haircut. A watch they once said made me look like a loan officer. The host greeted me like I was the one getting married. I like that. At 7:01, they arrived. Mom, Dad, my sister, Aunt Joanne, and cousin Nate, the proud new owner of my 2012 Ford Focus, which still had my parking permit on the dash. Group hugs. Light laughter. A little too cheerful. Mom handed me a tin of cookies. From the old batch. Remember when you used to love these? Dad patted my back and said, "You look sharp. Like a man in control." My sister added, "I'm just glad you're not holding on to all that negativity anymore." We sat. Ordered wine, French, dry, too expensive. Mom chose lobster risotto. Dad went for wagyu with some kind of gold shaving. My sister asked the waiter, "What's the most photogenic main on the menu?" He smiled. "The duck confit with citrus glaze." "Perfect," she said, already opening Instagram. I asked for a club soda. No ice. I didn't need alcohol tonight. I needed clarity. And Joanne toasted first. To healing, to fresh starts, and to remembering what really matters. Everyone raised a glass. So did I. I was playing the role I perfected, silent funder, visible support beam. For the next hour, I watched them rebuild the narrative. They reminisced about old birthdays, laughed at inside jokes, patted themselves on the back for getting through tough family moments. No one brought up the forged signature. No one asked about the wedding fund. No one said sorry. The closest was when Mom looked across the table and said, "We didn't always know how to show gratitude. But we see you now. You've always been the responsible one." Responsible. Their favorite adjective for me. Translation: you're the one we count on to clean the mess, quietly. My sister took a group selfie. She leaned in, perfect angle, tapped a filter, and posted it with the caption, "Pull again, hashtag family first, hashtag healing dinner." I nearly laughed out loud. They thought we were whole. They thought I'd come back to fix the books, refill the account, pretend the fraud was just a technical hiccup. But I wasn't there to heal. I was there to document the final scene before credits rolled. Because when someone burns your house down and hands you a candle, you don't rebuild. You move. Quietly. Permanently. So when my sister leaned across the table and said, "It feels good, right? Like the real us again." I smiled. "Yeah, almost." And I meant it. Almost. I checked my watch. Then looked at them, all of them. Full and relaxed. My father chewing slowly. My aunt dabbing sauce from her mouth. My cousin scrolling for a lift home. They had no idea what was coming. I stood. "Excuse me," I said softly. "I just need to take a call real quick. Be right back." "No problem," said Mom. I walked past the bar, past the restrooms, took the hallway left, the one marked service only. Out the side door. Down the block. There was no call. There was just silence. And then my footsteps. 15 minutes later, inside the restaurant, a waiter approached the table. "Would you like the check?" he asked. Dad reached instinctively for me. "He's coming, right?" "No, sir," said the waiter. He left. Left. The waiter nodded. He only paid for a single beverage. They blinked. "How much is the rest?" my sister asked. The waiter smiled, polite but blank. "$1, 800. Before tip." There was silence. Then chaos. Phones out. Calls. Missed rings. "Sister." "He's not answering." "Dad, he just left." "Mom." "He wouldn't do that." "He wouldn't." Except I would. And I did. At home, I was already on the couch, bare feet, sweatpants, biting into a greasy slice of pepperoni pizza. Plastic plate. No garnish. No linen napkins. Just me, a soda can, and a $4.99 combo that tasted like freedom. My phone buzzed. And buzzed. I let it. I let it vibrate until it slid off the coffee table and hit the floor. Then I picked it up. One message. From my sister. "How could you do that to us?" I replied, "You're used to me paying quietly. Now I just left quietly." Blocked the thread. Turned off the phone. That night, I slept deeper than I had in months. They thought silence was weakness. They forgot it can also be an exit. I didn't block them. Not at first. I wanted them to see the silence. To sit in it. To squirm in the vacuum where, of course, used to be. First came the texts. "Are you okay? Was that dinner really necessary?" That was childish. Then came guilt. "You've always been the stable one. We're a family. We fight. We forgive. We made mistakes, but you're better than this." They still didn't get it. I wasn't doing this to hurt them. I was doing this because they'd already hurt me, for years, and expected it to stay invisible. At 7:42 a.m. the next morning, I canceled every single payment. $1,100, my parents' rent top-up. $420, utilities on the second property. $89, shared subscriptions. $250, gym. $12, Canva Pro for someone who hasn't worked in months. Gone. Then I renamed the shared Google folder. Family Fund, closed. I archived it. Turned off notifications. At 10 a.m., I opened Notes and wrote a new header. Do not reply. They kept messaging. Mom left a voicemail with her softest voice. Come back to us. We need you. My sister tried sarcasm. Very mature. Disappearing like a teenager. Aunt Joanne sent a long text that started with "This is beneath you" and ended with "You're acting out." I didn't respond. They didn't know it yet, but this was the response. The silence? That was the point. On Friday, my phone buzzed at 2:19 p.m. A new email. Subject: Updated family budget plus FAFSA deadline. Inside, a badly formatted PDF with urgent asks. Aunt Joanne now proposed a shared account, with oversight. They suggested I contribute $2,000 per month voluntarily. I didn't reply. Instead, I attached one image, the forged signature on the wedding decor invoice. No subject, no body, just the image. They never responded. Sunday morning, I sent one last message. To the group chat. You said you're better without me. Prove it. Then I muted the thread. Deleted the app. No goodbye, just an audit trail. A week later, I sat on my couch with a pizza box, secondhand furniture, my own Netflix login. No calls. No requests. No noise. For the first time in years, my name belonged only to me. They thought I was a wallet with emotions. Now they only have the emotions. And I have the silence.